Taste of Ghosts is a novel about insanity that attempts to bring the reader along as the main character goes into a hallucinogen-fueled breakdown, and it uses a variety of literary devices to do so. I'm going to go into some of the things that influenced the book and its writing process in this video. Although I'm going to try and keep this video spoiler-free, this is definitely geared towards those that have read the book. Hi, I'm Matchstick, and if you want to get updates when new videos or projects of mine drop, there's a site where you can sign up for a newsletter in the description. It's the best way to stay in the loop, as we all know YouTube's subscription system isn't great. The first and most obvious influence on taste would be the noir genre in general. The idea of tough detectives, shadowy underworld figures, dangerous women, cases that aren't what they seem. Most, if not all, of those cliches make an appearance here. Movies like LA Confidential, Chinatown, and The Maltese Falcon were influences, I'm sure. And I've read enough Dashiell Hammett to have that be an influence, but I think my lifelong fascination with noir began with the Tracer bullet strips and Calvin and Hobbes. Is what it is. However, three works that probably directly influenced taste would be the comics Nine Lives and Gotham Noir, which are noir takes on the Batman universe, and the comic Spider-Man Noir, which does the same for Spider-Man. The influence here is that these larger-than-life comic book characters were interpreted in a noir setting, and some of them ended up being larger-than-life takes within a noir world. That paved the way for larger-than-life noir characters like Snake and Peck in The Taste of Ghosts. On the note of comics, the output of Vertigo definitely influenced the general concept of taste. Mind-bending series like Shade the Changing Man, Doom Patrol, and Animal Man definitely informed the concept of a story that isn't what it seems on the surface. Limbo, a favorite comic of mine, also influenced the book, although that was mostly in a structural sense and was kind of an accident. The books aren't very similar, but if you've read them both, you might see what I mean. One minor spoiler would be that Taste is meant to be read multiple times, with something revealed at the end that affects the book for rereads. In this sense, the most obvious influence would be the movie Training Day, which completely changes when you watch it a second time. I know there are books that do that as well, but that movie is my reference point for that technique. As far as the inspiration for the traditional villain of the novel, Peter Tobin was me trying to craft a terrorist with a background in conceptual art. I studied Dada for a bit and brought that sensibility to Tobin's modus operandi as a sort of conceptual artist terrorist. However, his crimes did end up resembling the work of the Joker. Certainly Tobin's mannerisms and general vibe aren't influenced by the Joker, but Joker stunts like the laughing fish were probably unintentional parts of his DNA. Taste of Ghosts has a structure that loosely resembles a pop song, with acts that, like verses, all end with a different type of chapter which could be considered a chorus. There's also a bridge partway through that riffs off of that chorus, followed by one last verse and chorus. This sort of happened naturally, although eventually I embraced it. Again, it is what it is. Finally, the biggest influence on taste was my personal experience. I went crazy on hallucinogens, and I had a voice that I spoke to that was antagonistic in a way that characters like the man with the blue hat or the Riddle are in the book. It was a tough patch of life, and I'm glad it's over. The only thing I'll say about the ending was that it ended up being extremely effective. Anyway, that's all I have for influences on The Taste of Ghosts. As with all works of mine, they're influenced by everything I've ever taken in, from fiction and reality, so it's hard to pinpoint things. But that's as good of an analysis as any. The novel's in the Kindle store, and I made a few videos about it if you're interested in learning more. Also, the website for the newsletter is in the description. Peace out.